Here we go again. Week in, week out. Month after month, meeting after meeting. We've been at it for a while now, until today. Nothing left to be said that hasn't already been said. So where are they off to, you wonder? Well, wonder is the first step into the wonders of interpreting. Where have they gone, you wonder? There used to be a lot of them, a lot of us, here, together, hanging around the tables, talking, listening, and interpreting. Their gestures, their expressions, their sense of humour, or lack of. We made it possible for them to speak their own language, to speak their mind and still be understood. Yet, whatever effort we gave it, it was never enough. There was always misunderstanding, and misunderstanding led to misinterpretation, and that led to abandonment. No. This time round is different. There's only 3 of them left, and this may be their last chance. My last chance. It asks for a different approach then. Before helping them understand each other, I will try to make them understand themselves.
Geachte collega's, het is een eer om opnieuw deze illustere ruimte te mogen betreden.
Dear colleagues, it is an honor to once again enter this illustrious space to deliberate, to separate fad and fiction from true matters of urgency. As always, it is our duty to resonate the voice of the people.
En vandaag, net als jaren geleden met onze Britse vrienden, is het precies deze stem.
Our British friends, it is exactly this voice that puts strain on the respect herefore mentioned. Our British friends, really? I know what you're thinking. And they still want all this to be translated to a neutral language, the only thing left in the room from their British friends. But can my mother tongue be this neutral to them?
Dat jullie, net zoals ik, geloven dat...
Where has he gone off to, you wonder? It certainly helps to know that he's in the middle of a divorce. A little nastier than the first, and this one's going to cost him. There's always a price. And she's always on her game, always sharp, and she's enjoying the formalities for now. Silence before the storm, though. Not that she would feel a tension for this meeting. Actually, that would make her flourish. Rather, it's the fact that this company has gotten more and more intimate with time and in size that has her uncomfortable.
Dit vertrouwen wil ik deze bijeenkomst openen. Dank u. On dit que se tromper, c'est humain, mais de se tromper aussi spectaculairement et à ses frais. On se demande pourquoi.
They say that to err is to be human, but to fail so spectacularly and at these costs. We needed a grand design. In order to fail so spectacularly, one needs a concept like interdependency.
And all these other values we still speak of and believe in. Otherwise we wouldn't be sitting here again and again.
Ich bin mir nicht sicher, wie ich das alles interpretieren soll.
I'm not sure how to interpret all this.
No, I'm not sure how to interpret all this.
Well, I believe that the instrument of threat is always present in the construct of mutual security. The very promise of mutual security is the underlying instrument in the promise of mutual profit.
No. With interpreting, I mean, what is threatening mutual security? And what mutual profit are you talking about? Raimund, are you talking about us?
Maybe it's time to tell them what you're really thinking about.
Listen, we all know you're caught up in a divorce. And maybe you're confusing our situation with your situation at home. I know that right now it seems to be everything and all-consuming, like a loop you can find yourself in forever. But I'm convinced you can throw yourself out of that loop.
You're doing good, Amalia. Just go ahead. Why don't you mention something personal, something from a past?
Stop telling me what to do! I know what I want to say. Let me tell you about the day I signed my divorce papers. So outside of the courthouse, I see my ex-husband talking to his lawyer. I imagined meeting him in front of the judge, but here he was already. So we greet each other, and we step into this big revolving door of the Palace of Justice. And as the two of us step into this tiny spinning compartment, he says something funny. Can't remember what it was. It was some kind of joke. Can't remember now what the joke was. God, did I find it funny. This was the man I once fell in love with. All of a sudden I'm asking myself, why are we getting a divorce? And that question, that why, could have gone on forever with us walking in never-ending circles without any answer. But then, just after the joke, while I'm there wondering why, he says something else. Can't remember what it was. But somehow it was my answer. The tone. The attitude with which he said it. All of a sudden I knew why we were splitting up. And even before we walked out of the rotating door, I knew it was over.
Thanks for sharing that. Did it make you feel better? I think we all have to open up a bit more. Raymond? Why don't you share what happened to you the other day?
Ah, the kids' things. Yes? Yes. So the other day, when I dropped my children off at my old house where my ex-wife still lives, before leaving, my daughter comes up to me. She says, "You have no right to let this happen. All you have to do to save this family is to say yes and choose no." That's what she said. She is 6 years old. So I was like, who are you to judge what your mom and me should or should not be doing? And you know what she answered? Who do I have to be? She devastated me. Maybe Maybe she needed to feel that it mattered. That you existed as a family. That there's something bigger than the choices we make. And that there's more to it than this. You understood, right, Raymond? I'm sure you would have liked it to be otherwise. And I'm sure you understood her.
And maybe you also know that sometimes, in order to be right, you have to lose. Right, Lucas?
And maybe you also know that sometimes, in order to be right, you have to lose. Right, Raymond?
But he is not here to lose. He's not here to understand what loss is. He's trying to understand what he will be missing.
Who do I have to be? This is like our ultimate turning point. Catherine the Great once said that if you can't be a good example, you have to be a horrible warning. Well, now, here we are. A horrible warning. A horrible warning. I feel like that sometimes. Not like you, I don't want to pretend, but just this whole situation, like, it's like the more we let our identity be our guide, the more we refer to the who we are, the more people seem to get turned on. It's as though identity is a magic word that contains the promise of some fundamental freedom, liberty, fraternité, Freiheit. But the more we get excited, the more we lock ourselves up. I feel in need of affirmation. I end up being in constant need of the other. Like not in need of a friend, but like of some other person that I don't identify with. Someone to blame for all the things that I don't dare to recognize as being part of myself.
What is it you actually want to say?
I told you about my wife's children, right? And how I really want to have my own children. But I doubt. She doubts. Which makes me doubt even more. Because in the end, we already have her children to take care of. I mean, actually, they're adults now, but we don't want them to live in subprime circumstances now, do we? I mean, I provide for them. I give them enough to keep them on their feet, but not enough to make them lazy. But then, all of a sudden, I realize it's in their genes. They simply are lazy. There's nothing I can do about it. However much I try to love them, I just know that my own children wouldn't waste their time like that. I mean, they already have a father. Godverdomme.
So, you said that what you believe to be you is more and more defined by what you resist?
So, Lucas, just stop resisting. Amalia, I can't help but ask about the rumors I've heard. This situation with your sister. Is it really such a mess as the papers suggest?
It's not a mess. That's for sure.
It is a mess, Amalia. It is a mess. For the papers, indeed, but let them hear what kind of mess that is for you.
Okay. It is a mess. That's for sure. Any citizen in my position would say that they were misinformed. They would have lost a lot of money, and that would be the end of it. But we all know that we are not regular citizens, right? The mistakes we make have to be somebody else's responsibility. So yes, I dragged my sister against her will into making wrong investments. Who could have possibly predicted those hedge funds were toxic? So yes, I tried to fix it for the both of us, for us all. But when I realized that it was impossible to do so, I had to find somebody close to me so that it wasn't me to be blamed for. Because again, we're not regular citizens, right? So it was appropriate to let my sister go bankrupt, not me. Now we're both bound by the choices I made. But this way, I would have had time to mourn the future we both thought she had. And eventually, together with her children, she would have found a new way to live, a new future to look forward to, and I would have supported her and always will, because that's what you do in a family. Lucas, I remember you once told that we were like a family. And you too, Raymond. You referred to the idea of family. If only it was by referring to your nostalgic tales of freedom and the necessity to each reclaim autonomy. Maybe, if we would take an honest look to what kind of family we really are, we would see that our family tree has been trimmed to its roots. And maybe we would come to the conclusion that it's time to plant a new seed next to the old tree. One that bears a different, less bitter fruit.
Thank you, Amalia, for being able to keep that incredible focus. And you're right. Most of us started this from a desire for stability. If there was ever any room for mutual interest, it only came out of the fear of conflict. However much it scares me, I feel strongly for your metaphor. But then again, imagining a tree that grows on support and understanding instead of on fear and conflict, I'm instantaneously ashamed of my own thoughts. But that's probably me being stuck in the revolving doors. And thank you, Lucas. It never occurred to me before, but you have a way of opening up situations with your disarming ways.
Appreciate it, Raymond. Our sharing vocabulary is a constant...
Sorry, Lucas. Oh, but it's my ex-wife. She was at the hospital today to get the results of a swab test. I was a bit worried, but thank God it's negative. God forbid a quarantine.
Is that a picture of her?
Yes, it is. Wait, let me send it to the group chat.